Doing all right?
If you want to say something, that's fine, or I can say something, whichever. But I'll make a little note.
We went to the Sir John Soames Museum. I don't know if he's an architect, like one of the famous architects from the 1800s. And his home is a.
I'm actually not playing.
His home is like a three-Georgian mansions put together. And
No,
he was like a
it hasn't
collector
started.
of
Yeah,
things.
we don't start
So
until
really, Sir John Soames.
Didn't make it, get him out for wrestling.
to be honest, but I guess
And it's right on this little,
Yeah.
like park called
Parent mentioned
Lincoln
hasn't
Field
arrived.
or something.
Parent you mentioned hasn't arrived yet.
Quickly, let's go.
Let's get the meeting done. 5 minutes, that's what we can do.
So yeah, so it was, that was delightful.
even and then
We ended up not going.
and then started the season. Oh yeah.
I'm making homemade rolls for Thanksgiving. I should send some over to, they're cloverleaf rolls. I should send some over to Anthony's. I will make it. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of rolls. Well, you have boys, and I'm sure they eat like they have.
Just needs to say, clerk, so welcome next.
I make nice, soft cloverleaf rolls for Thanksgiving. They're delicious, and they're just delicious. Oh, those are good too.
Nice.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I think we'll go ahead. The board met tonight in executive session. We're now ready to begin the public portion of our meeting. We last met on the 9th, and we have not had written communications to the board since then. The president's report, first of all, I want to welcome Erica Spade to our group. We swore her in just a little bit earlier this evening, and it is so nice to be 9 people again. So Erica, thank you for stepping up and joining the group, however short duration it may be. And I wanted to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving before I forget. For those of you who are cooking, I will be cooking too. For those of you who are not, you'll be able to relax and just enjoy yourself. So happy Thanksgiving to all. And we will be thanking the kitchen tour people, but the big check has to arrive, right?
Kahuna.
Oh, the big door.
So we'll wait and do that when, okay. So you can give me the nod when it's time, and we'll stop whatever it is we're doing and honor our good friends who orchestrated the very successful kitchen tour. It is about to be budget season at the state level, and various of our advocacy groups will be speaking to legislators about the fact that we're currently experiencing a very high rate of inflation. We have the 2% property tax cap, and all districts are going to be up against the wall in varying stages, and we need to build some flexibility in either by way of getting more transportation aid or more aid in some categories, but we need to acquaint our legislators with the fact that educators and school districts need flexibility to create sustainable budgets. So that is the president's report. Oh, I wanted to note with regard to the 2% tax levy cap, I was asked when that came in by a constituent. And the 2% cap came in 2010. It came in during the Christie administration. Prior to 2010, we had a 4% cap, which had an effect on all things that schools do, particularly in the realm of negotiation. So we have now had the 2% tax levy cap for 12 years with very few cap waivers or the ability to go beyond the cap. So that is the story with the 2% cap, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. The legislators are particularly sensitive right now to that. Okay, and that is the president's report. Let's go to the superintendent's report.
Thank you. I also want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and remind everyone that we do have a race in town that morning that's sponsored by the Glen Education Foundation and whose proceeds will go back to helping the schools out. So if you're not running the race, hopefully you can get on the route and just cheer the people on who are running the race. I do have a couple slides to share with you about, the first one's going to be on the New Jersey graduation proficiency assessment. This is a new assessment that the state initiated last year. Typically when we have new assessments, the state's first time of facilitating that will be a field test. And typically the districts do not get results back. This year we did get results back. Second year becomes then a benchmark assessment, and the third year is usually the year that they implementation that it has some value that it's counted, and those scores are then shared with families. But this year, the NJGPA was reported out to the districts, and individual student reports were constructed, and we distributed them to parents. The history of this is in 11th grade, New Jersey has a graduation assessment requirement written into its constitution. That we moved away from that in New Jersey for a few years as we went to PARC and the New Jersey Student Learning Assessments, and that was challenged, and as a result, the NJGPA was formed. So looking at this past spring's results, and this was from our current senior class, who will be the class of 2023. At Glenridge High School, almost 87% of our students were considered graduation ready in math, and about 70% of our students in language arts. When you compare that to the state level, we are extremely, significantly higher in our performance. So typically when we have those results, they're broken down to a little bit more detail, and the building principal will sit down with the teachers of those subject areas and have some delve into the statistics and see where our strengths and weaknesses are. For this class, it is not counting as a graduation assessment. There is no graduation assessment for the class of 2023. I know, Colin, you must be disappointed in that, but we don't have any. In the past few years, as I mentioned, they've used the student learning assessment, or they've used an alternative assessment, such as the PSATs, SATs, and ACTs. So this will be enacted for the class of 2024, but they will also have their alternative assessments that they can use as a graduation requirement. All right. Secondly, I was asked to review the MAP scores, and I'm going to do this quite quickly, to tell you the truth. There's a lot of data, and you know, I will put this up on the website tomorrow, and make it available to everyone to see if they want to delve into this a little bit more. When we're looking at our MAP scores, and we have 3 primary schools and elementary schools that administered the MAP. In this case, we're looking at central school math results. You know, just a quick view of this. When we're looking at low to low average, ideally we want those numbers to be under 10%. And when we're looking at our high average high, we want those numbers to be over 66%. And that's just getting a quick view of where we're at and if we're performing well on those. And you can see for the most part, our central school numbers are doing very well. And when we start looking at the mean scores, sorry, I'm losing my laser pointer. There we go. When we look at our mean scores in each grade level, this is the building mean score, the district mean score, and they should be close to each other. All right, and grade level national score. And you can tell when we're looking at our grade level or building scores, we're always significantly above the national level. And again, now that I've explained this will go a little quicker. Again, looking Forest Avenue School Ideally, under 10%. Ideally, over 66%. We're seeing some very impressive numbers from our students. And our building numbers are much higher than our national numbers. And Linden Avenue School, under 10%, above 66%. And we're starting seeing high, almost 2/3 of our students in kindergarten are scoring in the high range. That just indicates the performance level, and as a result, obviously our mean scores could be much higher than our average scores when you have that number that high performing in that range. And for Ridgewood, again, under 10%, and we're looking almost all of them over 66%, and all the Ridgewood scores are above the national scores. You're going to see some language arts, and I'll discuss it a little bit, that we do have some situations where we might have a high number, and we look at Central School in our level one, grade 1, we had 18% of our students in low average. We have to remember that although that might look like a high percent, and it's a percent that we're concerned about, we're also looking at not a lot of students, so we could have a few low students who are skewing those numbers, but when we typically have scores that are concerning to us, we're delving into it more to see if there's subcategories that we're weak on that needs to be addressed. This is from this fall, so we have the rest of the year to address those weaknesses. We also have homework clubs that we are running after school as a way to provide more intense, either one-on-one or small group instruction. We also have our academic interventionists that are going into classroom to provide extra support for those students who aren't performing at grade level. We are looking to, after the December break, to start an after-school OG program, and again, we'll look at students based on these results, based on a recent map of fluency test that was given to students in kindergarten for 3rd grade, and feedback from the teachers of which students would qualify for that type of program. And our high average is, we're still seeing a large percent of our students in that high average to high area. Forest Avenue, strong performance. Our low is under 10, and our high numbers are above the 66. And again, our mean scores are way above the national scores. Linden Avenue scores, we're seeing 1st grade a little concern with an 18% between these two. That again, the principal will sit down with the teachers and look for areas that they need to really focus on as we're going through the next couple months of the school year. With the MAP scores, we do them multiple times during the year, so we're able to see if we're making progress on the performance of the students. And Ridgewood, we're seeing, that 3rd grade class is showing some indication that we're going to have to address. I also, with our language arts program, we're noticing that there's areas that we need to improve on, and one of our focuses over the last couple of years is working with the literacy consultant to improve instruction. This year we spent a good portion of the fall training our teachers on phonics first for students, for teachers, and for first and second and third, and we're doing Haggerty program for pre-K and kindergarten. So we're hoping to see the progress, and one of the things that we're going to do as administrators is when we have that formal observation, we're going to go in during the language arts periods to making sure that they are implementing those programs that we're putting into place. So overall, our students are performing, when we start looking at comparing it to a national level, and our high average or high rate, that's consistently happening, which is a positive sign for us. this is just one measuring point. We are using for reading our DRA assessments also. We have our district benchmarks where between the summative and formative assessments. We look at a lot of data points for our students to make sure that they are learning. For the students who we are noticing are having difficulties, there's a variety of programs in place, whether it's, as I mentioned before, the homework club, our interventionists. We do have online programs with Reading Eggs, Study Island, and IXL to provide some enrichment. And if we're not seeing the improvement, we may bring that student up to a school committee called Intervention Referral Services to see what additional ways we can help that student beyond what's doing now. So we're trying to make sure that all our students find success, and that may take a while as we're figuring out what works and what doesn't work, and we're collecting data on those different strategies and interventions we're attempting to implement. Ridgewood Avenue also has an additional language arts test, language usage results, and again, you're going to see that a high performance throughout this as we're looking at their map results. And lastly, I'm just throwing out a bunch of school events that are going to happen from now to the end of the calendar year. Just a reminder, we do have an early dismissal on Wednesday, so everyone the kids can hurry home and help out with the Thanksgiving cooking. We're happy to have TREPS back this school year at the Ridgewood Avenue School. We are having a TREPS program for the 6th graders who weren't able to have it the last couple of years. So they're having their own TREPS in the fall, and the rest of the grade levels will have a TREPS program come the springtime. And that's my report.
And then we have a school presentation.
We do have a school presentation. We're fortunate to have Dr. Joseph Caravella here to talk about a new activity at Linden Avenue School.
Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
Could I just make an addition to the calendar?
Sure.
It's on? That we have our holiday marketplace coming up on the 4th of December at the high school, so that people can come and do a bit of holiday shopping, and that will benefit the high school, home, and school.
Terrific. Thank you for informing us.
Okay, Mr. Caravella. Dr. Caravella.
Oh, yeah,
sorry.
hold on one second. So, okay, hold on. All right, here we go. All right, thank you. I'm going to do a very brief presentation on this program that I'm going to thank Mr. Phillips first because he discovered this program through his superintendent's group. And we had gone at late winter or very early spring last year. We went to the Essex Fells Elementary School where they had this rigamajig, and I'm going to explain everything about it. And it was very fascinating, very cool. So Dirk went to the Glen Ridge Education Foundation, and they were able to fund this for us. So we had just set it up at Linden in one of our classrooms that we're converting, or we're actually calling like a maker or STEAM type of room. And I just started to cycle the 1st and 2nd grade students through that room in small groups. I'm taking 6 kids at a time, and I'm going to show you some of the cool things that they've done with this rigamajig. So basically, that's the rigamajig. It's a large-scale, loose parts wooden building kit. It's not blocks. They're more like boards, and they're pretty big, and they're all different sizes, mostly made out of wood. Some of the ones on the side in blue are plastic, but I'm going to show you in a little while. There's also the small plastic pieces that the students use to attach the blocks together to build and create. This is a 2nd grade group that one of the 2 of the students built this car out of all these pieces on their own. And when I say there's little to no directions, I basically brought the kids down to the room. I played a 2-minute video that explained what this rigamajig is. I showed them how to attach we call them Mickey Mouse ears or butterflies, is the bolt, and how to use the nut to attach the 2 pieces together. And you'd be surprised, a lot of kids did not know how to do that. And they created this car. And the girl who's driving said, let's make seatbelts. And they put the little ropes on for seatbelts. I was fascinated. Now, this is a 40-minute block. They could have been there for hours, and I just wanted to stay for a longer time. This is some first graders who made a scooter. We have some other first grade students. So a part of the video showed a pulley system, a lawnmower, and we explained to the students how all these different things work. So most of this first lesson, and I only got through a couple classes so far, so we have some more classes to come through. The first lesson is just to go down and play with the materials, learn what they're about, and just discover and problem solve on your own. And then as the kids went back to their classrooms, they were telling each other what they did. We made this, so they came in, I want to build this next time. So there's some challenges and some starter prompts that we can do the next time they go down. But these students made this little pulley system that actually works to pick up. We had a little bucket with a handle that they picked up. So they're just working in groups. Some students worked in pairs. Some worked 3 or 4 at a time. Some children decided to work on their own. And they just made stuff however they felt like it, whatever they wanted to do. So this is also a first grade group. So when we say there's no instructions or right or wrong answers, they set out to build a car. And as they started to build it, all of a sudden they made this little mast. And someone said, hey, that looks like a pirate ship. They're like, well, now it's a pirate ship. So they had a great time. And as you see on the left, there's one of the pulleys that one of the other groups had made. So they can basically design, and as you can see, I'm going to show you in a little bit, there's these little plastic angles where they could put the big parts together with the nuts and the bolts. So we're just using the floor space, and the 3 girls were actually working together. Then the one in the blue broke off on her own, and 2 of the boys were working together, and then one joined later on. But you could see all the pieces we have just laid around, and they're just all sharing them, which is great. So these students, if you see in the background up here, this is the video that I had played. It was about 2 minutes long, and there was one of the groups in the video made this lawnmower. So these 3 boys said, we're going to make a lawnmower, and they were set out to do this. So I actually went back to the video and put it on pause so they could see how to attach the handles, but they were all working together to create that, and that was a really cool project. So some of the fasteners, the little angle up here, if they want to make angles or attach the rigamajig boards together. Like we said, they called this Mickey Mouse ears or butterfly, and then the nut went on top to screw it down. We had to show righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. And, you know, a lot of it is just them, for the first time, having the ability just to work on their own and just create whatever they wanted. Much more rewarding and imaginative than just regular blocks, because they're actually putting things together. And then part of the rigamajig assembly has, let me go, this is part of the side of it, and it has some different types of prompts and I'll show you some in a little while, and pictures. And the kids can use this for inspiration if they wanted to do something the next time. So they're just really, this is 2nd graders, just the same kids, different groups, just engaged in their free play. And this is them, you know, almost like a time lapse of them building this lawnmower together. And then several of them wanted to build the pulley systems. And so the first graders down here in the bottom, they were doing this catapult, which was so cool. They had the rope, and they were trying to make it so it could make a ball go across the room, and they actually did when they made it together. And this group is making a car. So just from here, you're going to see, here's some more pulleys, and here's the scooter. This is in the beginning as they're to put this scooter together. And I will say, and that when I say the quote, this is the best day ever, 3 or 4 of the students literally said, this is the best day of my life when they're playing with this rigamajig. I'm not kidding. I'm like, I have to write this down. But look how cool. Oh. You know, this is another pulley system. And I'll tell you what, I'm building with them. I'm probably having more fun than they are. And I'm helping them discover and, you know, put these things together and, you know, put this corner angle on so this doesn't fall over. And we just really had a great time. These were hoverboards. I don't know, they're like, we're gonna make a hoverboard. And they had these little wheels, and then this boy wanted to make a mega skateboard. And, you know, she wanted to also do a hoverboard. They're just pretending, and they're building. And then the next group came down and said, oh, I heard so-and-so made a mega skateboard. I want to make a mega skateboard. This was the car that the first grade students were making before. And that's the pirate ship. That's the end of our presentation. They're actually saying, "Arr!" And like, why are they screaming? No, they're going, "Arr!" And they're pretending they're pirates. And, you know, the part of building is also taking it apart and putting it away. So that was, I had to teach them that because we had about 40 minutes to do it, and they wanted to spend about 60 minutes. So some of the starters, there's so many of these, but, you know, the next time we go down, we could say to the kids, build a contraption to make a, you know, that can send a bucket from one place to another. Build something that can lift something that can get inside. When Mr. Phillips and I went to Essex Fells, they had a second grade class, and they were working in groups of 2 or 3, and their challenge was build something that can withstand a natural disaster. And they explained to the kids, tornado, hurricane, thunderstorm, and they actually built something, and then they had to explain it at the end, and I thought that was really cool. But the last slide is, it's kind of interesting that this was built by someone, and a worker or an inventor, engineer who worked on the High Lawn in New York City. And this is only pretty recent, in 2011, just for the children of the High Lawn. And they built this rigamajig, and it's apparently going in a lot of the different schools. It's expensive, and we do want to thank, of course, the GREF for purchasing it for us, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun with it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Board members, any questions for Dr. Caravella before he takes his seat? Questions?
Yeah, you seem to enjoy it a lot. Were you the one that said this is the best day of your life?
I did. I called my mom.
It looks like a lot of fun.
I do, you know, and I do a lot of the science and the STEM with the kids, so I love doing that.
Right.
I know we have a lot more to do, so a lot more groups to go with, a lot more cool ideas, and the teachers can't wait to come down. So we're having fun. It's definitely well worth it.
When you talk about the skills that it builds, clearly there's collaboration and, you know, fine motor skills and gross motor skills. What other skills did you see?
Fascinating to me is, so you talk about this, say, well, maybe the students can do a design, and they can draw something. Say, I want to build this is going to be my design. When I go to the room, I'm going to build this. So this is really the first lesson. So I just said, we're going to just go and play and explore these different things. So we're with the first grade class, and part of the rigamajig, there's like a whiteboard. It's kind of built into it. And at least 2 different groups in first grade said, we should sketch on this whiteboard what we want to build first. I was like, I didn't have to teach them. You know, that to me blew me away. I couldn't have been happier with the amount of creativity and imagination.
Okay. Board members, any other questions?
Are we getting one for every elementary school?
We were thinking at one point that we could transport this, and we didn't realize how heavy
How many pieces?
and
So
large it
Lyndon's
is.
the
So
pilot
we're
site?
working on that. Yeah, we're piloting this, and you know, I'll invite the foundation members down to Linden to view the kids working on them, and hopefully we will get them in the other 2 primary schools.
We can give the members a challenge. They can build something.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anything else for the superintendent's report?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay. We've now come to the first, I'm sorry. Well, I was going to do that after public comment when we were, but, you know, as long as you mention it. Colin, would you like to give your report? Sorry to put it. It was her fault.
It's all right if you don't. I told Colin that, you know, he gave a report out last meeting, so he might not have one every meeting.
Okay, so do you have anything, we remember from the 9th, most of us, though our brains are somewhat addled by age. Do you have anything to add to what you told us on the 9th?
I'm just gonna say happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'll leave it at that.
Very good. Thank you. We've now come to the first public comment period for comments or questions on agenda items only. The protocol is the same as always. For those who don't know it, please come up to the lectern, sign in, state your name, confirm your Glen Ridge residency, and you have 2 minutes. Kristen, will you be my timer? Thank you. And if you have several questions or comments, please state them all in the beginning of what you have to say, and we'll try to answer them, if we can, in the order that they are given. So does anybody have questions or comments? Clearly, Joe's presentation was so spellbinding and that it prevented questions or comments. Again, any questions or comments? Okay, well, there is a question and comment period at the end of the meeting as well. It is not the first meeting of the month, but does anyone have anything that is time sensitive in terms of committee and liaison reports? Okay, you will see that in keeping with our board determination to make sure that we look at the progress on the goals, we've added board goals quarterly down at the end of the committee and liaison reports, just as a reminder to all of us. Okay, going on. You have in your packets the minutes from the meetings of November 7th and November 9th. I hope that you have all read them. Does anyone have any, I'm sorry, may I have a motion, Michael, for the minutes?
I move M1.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Second from David. Does anyone have any changes or additions to the minutes? No? All right, Barbara, would you call the roll?
Mr. Bonnet,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. DeLue,
Aye for the November 7th and abstain for November 9th.
Ms. Gottlieb,
Aye.
Ms. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. O'Neill,
Aye.
Ms. St. Auburn,
Aye.
Ms. Spade,
Abstain.
Ms. Ginsburg.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, now we have administrative items. David, would you move the administrative items?
I move A1 through A5.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Second from Michael. Board members, before we do anything else, does anyone have any comments on any of these administrative items? Okay, I was looking particularly at the policy 5512 and thinking that the harassment, the HIB law came into being in 2011, was revised substantially in 2012, and I think we've had countless revisions since then. So this is the most recent one. The motion's been moved and seconded. If there are no objections, it doesn't sound like there are any comments. Last chance. Barbara, would you call the roll?
Mr. Bonnet,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. DeLue,
Aye.
Ms. Gottlieb,
Aye.
Ms. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. O'Neill,
Aye.
Ms. St. Auburn,
Aye.
Ms. Spade,
Abstain.
Ms. Ginsburg.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Tracy, would you move the personnel items?
Yes, I move P1 through P10.
All right, may I have a second?
Second.
Second from Anthony. In keeping with our rules, personnel items are discussed in exec session. Board members, any objection to moving on the personnel items? Okay, Barbara?
Mr. Bonnet,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. DeLue,
Aye.
Ms. Gottlieb,
Aye.
Ms. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. O'Neill,
Aye.
Ms. St. Auburn,
Aye.
Ms. Spade,
Abstain.
Ms. Ginsburg.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, we don't have donations as part of our business items tonight, but I will give the kitchen tour a chance if you are ready to make your presentation. Not yet? Oh, sorry. Okay. Then we'll go to the curriculum first.
Then I'll go very slowly. I move C1, including parts A, B, C, and D.
Okay. Do I have a second, either a slow or a fast second? Second from Kristen. Does anyone have any questions or comments about these field trips?
How do you feel about this trip to Italy? Go to Venice, Rome, Florence.
Wish I was going.
Yeah, but you're going to be gone.
Yeah, too bad.
I think we would all like to chaperone the trip to Venice, Rome, and Florence. Hopefully, the Art Honor Society will consider that. Any other questions or comments on the curriculum item? Okay, Barbara?
Mr. Bonnet,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. DeLu,
Aye.
Ms. Gottlieb,
Aye.
Ms. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. O'Neill,
Aye.
Ms. St. Auburn,
Aye.
Ms. Spade,
Aye.
Ms. Ginsburg.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, the business items, we would like to reiterate the thanks to the foundation for the makerspace materials, rigamajig materials that Dr. Caravella described earlier tonight. It's another example of all the good things that we get from the foundation. I think that when people have ideas, they're very receptive, and we couldn't do without them, couldn't do the job that we do without them. So another thanks to the foundation. Tracy, I know you'll convey that to Fran Wong. All right, David, may I have a motion for the business items?
I move B1 through B7.
Okay, may I have a second?
I'll second. It's Duval.
Thank you, Duval. Any questions or comments on the business items? All right. Seeing that there are none, Barbara, would you call the roll?
Mr. Bonnet,
Aye.
Mr. Campbell,
Aye.
Mr. DeLu,
Aye.
Ms. Gottlieb,
Aye.
Ms. Graham,
Aye.
Ms. O'Neill,
Aye.
Ms. St. Auburn,
Aye.
Ms. Spade,
Abstain.
Ms. Ginsburg.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, so the check has not arrived yet, right? The big check? The person isn't. Sorry, the bearer of the big check. We'll do our second public comment, and hopefully the individual will be here by that time. So now we're ready for the second public comment period on agenda items or other items related to the operation of the schools. Does anyone have a question or comment?
Hi, Trisha Akinwandi, student at Glen Ridge Middle School. So apologies, I was a little late today. I missed the president's report. Can you give an update on the status of the teacher's contract, one? And then my second question is with respect to the business items. B4, the purchase of the school vehicle, and B7, the joint transportation contract with Bloomfield School District. Can you just give us a little color as to what that's about and what it's for and what students being transported? Thank you.
Okay, let's start with negotiations. Michael, do you want to give the update?
We're continuing to negotiate with teachers. I think we've made significant progress, and we hope to have get to an agreement very soon.
Okay, and Dirk, do you want to talk, or Barbara, about the transportation?
No problem. Before the purchase of the van, we are currently utilizing both of our school vehicles to transport students, whether it's in district or out of district. And we do need to have a backup vehicle in case something happens, that we can transport those students. And we are also looking to utilize that van to either as an alternative to paying a vendor for an outside transportation, which is costing the district a significant amount of funds. And that's something we're looking to reduce at all times is just our transportation costs. or to use it during after-school activities when we might have a small team or individuals going to championship games that we need to transport them, such as maybe a tennis player or a golfer who needs to get to an event. Then we wouldn't have to use an outside vendor, and it would be advantageous to the district and cost efficient for us to utilize that.
Is there additional insurance we have to get in order to cover?
It would fall under the current school insurance, and I imagine there'd be a little bit of additional insurance just because it's an additional vehicle, but not significantly impacting our costs.
And there's,
And if you want me to answer, the second part about the other routes, we do put out our outside transportation bids out on a half-year basis now, and again, it's a way of us trying to secure a more cost-efficient transportation. In this case, we are utilizing the Bloomfield busing to take some of our students on out-of-district placement. It's not uncommon if we have a couple students and there's a neighboring district that also has a couple of students going to the same location. If we can share that transportation cost, it's a great savings to both of the districts.
other questions or comments? And I should say that there is a bill pending in the legislature that would make, probably make it easier for districts to use van transportation. So probably if it passes, more districts will be buying vans. So I think we're out ahead of that. Other questions or comments from the audience? I think we.
You want it today or you want December 19th? Okay.
Yes, we hate to leave anyone out of this wonderful presentation.
Sorry. Amy would do it.
Hello. On behalf of the Glenridge Kitchen Tour and Amy Owens, who may walk in at any moment, we'd like to present the Board of Education with $37,144.39, which represents the proceeds from the great day that we had.
Thank you so much. Okay, if there are no further public comments, last chance for anyone? Does not look so. I wish you again a happy Thanksgiving. If you're traveling, safe travels. If you will be here, I hope that you all have a lovely time with your families. And with that, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.